What if the reason you haven't fully shown up yet isn't fear, but permission? In this episode, Deb Drummond, who's built 7 international companies and inspired millions, shares why so many women stay silent, play small, and wait for one more sign before going all in. If you ever felt called to more, but unsure how to step into it, stay with us. This conversation might change how you see yourself. Get ready to reclaim your life, discover inspiring stories, practical tools, and the path to true happiness. This is Reclaim Your Life with Irina. Let's begin the journey. Give the woman in your life something that truly matters, or better yet, give it to yourself. The gift inside is for every woman who spent decades being everything to everyone else. It's time to remember who you are and rediscover your happiness. This isn't just a book, it's a permission to put yourself first again. Available now, because the best gift you can give is helping someone find themselves. Deb, welcome to the show. It's such an honor to have you here and share the space with someone who has inspired so many women to show up fully in their lives.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, spoken as a woman who has multiple books on the market. It's what we do, right? Whether it's talking, inspiring, community. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So you've built 7 international companies and impacted hundreds of thousands of people. Looking back, was there a moment in your life where you had to personally reclaim yourself before the success followed?
Oh, reclaim yourself. It's interesting. I think you have to find yourself. Or you know what? I'm going to back that up, because I think as I was building companies and as I was evolving and as things were coming to me, I really think my story is one of more unforeseen. Like I had a passion and a drive to build this, and then this went into this, and this went into this. I always say, like, I really need to run my ideas by somebody, because they come so divine, and then I just figure because they're divine, they're going to work. But, they start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I think reclaiming yourself, I think, I had enough what I call business esteem or self-esteem to start what I started. And then as I moved along my journey of life and things happened, like, a marital status change or economics in the world changed or things changed, which really affects entrepreneurship. I mean, affects life, right? I have 2 children. I mean, that came along. You have to adapt. And I think each time that you come up against something, you come up against yourself, and then you have to relearn or claim, or I'm the famous person that when people go, how did you get to where you are? I go, experts, coaches, therapists, and counselors. Like, it's a life game, right? Not just a business game for me anyways. So I think I'm reclaiming right now as we move into a whole other sphere of taking women and having conversations with them, converting the idea they would never be on TV to having their own TV show. That's not a linear. They're like, oh, I get that. But it's a, what? Like, I never thought that. And so it jams people up.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And you're right. Our life experiences can create different opportunities for us. So it's amazing what you were able to accomplish so far. And the journey is still unfolding. I think we are on this amazing, I call it, trajectory of being able to create unbelievable things if only we trust ourselves, if only we are open to what can come next. Your work is deeply rooted in performance, visibility, and courage. What do you believe stops people, especially women, from fully showing up and standing in their voice?
I think it's an inner dialogue and an outer dialogue. I think depending which generation you came from, you have different dialogue, right? So the environment in which you were raised in which you went to school in, and which you were impressed upon, it takes a lot to break away from that. So for me, I was in a family where there was not a lot of money. My mom was a single mom. There wasn't, child support and all that thing. So I heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, leftovers were our main dinner, and so there was parts about financial. And I think it wasn't that I didn't think I deserved it. I just had never had the neuronal experience of having an abundance. So, that was one aspect of it. And so being courageous puts you in a place of taking risk. And to take risk, you need to feel stable. And in a lot of times you were talking about from an entrepreneurial standpoint, what makes people feel stable is security. What is a main form of security? Money, right? And so a lot of times people won't leave work. They won't leave working at a company that's not fulfilling, or they won't leave toxic environments, or they won't leave friends that are bringing them down, or they won't stop going to a family member for advice that they know is not going to be supportive, but there's like this emotional place inside that just really wants them to support them. Like there's all these dynamics that we do that keeps us staying in a fearful place that we don't realize is just an automatic response to the life they've created. It's hard to go to the next table when you don't know anyone sitting there. And unfortunately, how it works is when you get brave and go solo, right? It's a solo journey. You're going to decide how to do that, whether you know it or not. Then the next table sits there. People always like, who's sitting at your table? Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you. And you have to have a conversation with you. So what are you doing? There's so many things. I did a Facebook Live this morning, right? I'm taking on a really big quest. My son's company is starting to flourish. I have a company that's starting to flourish. I have 3 positions available. Like, we're in a place of growth. And so I put a picture of my son. Now I always have a picture of my kids in my bathroom, but I know right now I'm doing a lot for him. And I put a picture of when he was like 4 years old in my bathroom. I see every morning. I'm like, okay, right. Got it. Good. I know what I'm doing this for. These little things that we do that moves us from a place of sometimes it's not even fearful. Sometimes it's a place of unknowingness that creates the fear. It's like, so if someone's fearful, I'm like, you have to dig underneath. What are you fearful? I'm not going to pay my rent. Okay. The issue is money. It's not fear. It's not like you have an issue being courageous. You just want to make sure you can pay your rent. So it's very different. You just got to scratch underneath, right? If it's like, what's stopping you from doing this? Well, my partner isn't going to be supportive. And then I'm worried my relationship's going to end. Okay, so it's not courage. It's your relationship. So you just got to dig a little bit and then have a conversation about that.
You're so right. It's all about the stories we tell ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we end up living out those stories and we don't realize that. Oftentimes we create the same what happened in the past. And it's so amazing, kind of, you grew up in a single parent home and now you were able to overcome all of that. So what was the first step, would you say, for yourself, how you were growing up to now, getting out of it and creating success for yourself?
Oh, that's a big one because, I've created a few companies, right? And so I remember a time I was maybe 5, maybe 6. I was standing on the sidewalk and I was looking at the house. So, obviously the house I was raised in. And I remember saying, I'm never going to live like this. Now that's a weird thing to say, an odd thing to say, like a 5 or a 6-year-old. I just knew this would never be my life. And no disregard to what was going on in the house. It just wasn't going to be my life. And I think I had always had something about justice. For those that live in past lives, whether it came through or not or what have you. But I remember we were watching, I was really young when we were literally fighting. It's like a picture, in front of the TV, and we were watching Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard in boxing. Okay. And I was going for Sugar Ray Leonard. And my mom looked at me and she said, you have always voted for the underdog. Always. I mean, I must have been 8 or 9 or 10 years old. I don't remember when that was, right? And so I think I have an innate piece inside me that wants to see justice and equilibrium. I just want to see everyone have a fair shot. And I think being a woman in business, that's been a really interesting experience. There's been some disempowering experiences in my life, but I don't think it's my life that I'm trying to accomplish. I think it's that whole equal play. Like I was on my way to go to university to get a degree in women's studies so I could help women in third world countries create economic platforms. I just wanted people to have access to make change if they wanted to. Now, I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter and trajectory changed, but I still did the same thing. I just did it a different way. So I have to say that it's that has kept me going through interesting things. And look at, I talk to a lot of colleagues of mine that have done what I've done. Like we've been in this game for a while. And I don't even think anyone now coming into a business can recognize the lack of resources that we had. Like there was no women's networking group in my city. And so at 2:00 on Sunday, everyone came to my house, all 9 of us that wanted to be entrepreneurs, and bring your kids. And then imagine women beforehand. Like we had no resources, they had no resources. So I think that's where reading people's stories is so important. I know that you're a big believer in stories as well and sharing experiences. And that's where I think where we pull the information and inspiration from. And truly, it sounds so hallmark to say, if you can do it, I can do it, whatever that looks like. And so I think that's why sharing stories and having summits where you're hearing people inspired and have been able to accomplish what you want to accomplish or have the resources that you need, that is such a big ecosystem that's critical to shortening the gap and really honestly shortening the pain of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Totally. I love that you bring a good point about resources, and amazing that you were able to create that. Oftentimes,
I think the same thing. Like, I'm not kidding. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know. So I just feel like sometimes people say, how did you do it? I just want to go, I don't know. I don't know. It's been 30 years. I don't know. Cried a lot, wrote a journal a lot, succeeded a lot, traveled a lot, said yes a lot. Like I by nature say yes. I don't get jammed up anymore. I don't figure it out. There's always going to be rice in your bowl. I mean, maybe we have this saying here in my house. I'm like, sometimes it's steak and lobster, sometimes it's rice and peas. Yeah, well, that's what we choose.
The show up, stand up, speak up, yes, you movement has touched millions. What does that message mean to you on a soul level, not just as a global initiative?
Yeah, on a soul level, it gives you permission. Look, there's, on our summits, we have celebrities. We have, people that people know. And so the reason why I put yes, you is because I believe if someone's on the other side of the screen, I'm having a conversation, someone put us together, you need to meet her. Out of the, billions of people that are on LinkedIn, somehow you connected. I mean, let's get real. There's some magic that happens in the world. And I think that's part of it. So at least for me, that's what I believe. And so if I'm talking to someone and they're like, oh, I've never spoke before, or I'm a 3 times TEDx, just because you're 3 times TEDx doesn't necessarily mean that you are revenue generating from your speaking, much like someone who's really never even spoke before. So I think for me, why we take the responsibility on of doing a lot of work with anyone, whatever they've done before they hit our stage, is because it's an equal playing field. Our platform is an equal playing field. And so on a soul level, what I believe is that if you're here, that means that you're showing up and that you're ready to show up, stand up and speak up, whether, because we do considerable media. So whether you go print or you go stage or you go TV, wherever you want to go, right? But I think you're ready or we wouldn't be talking. That's my soul belief, right? Or I need to resource them to someone else. But to date, that hasn't happened. Everyone's hit the stage and they've been very happy with what they did. So I think that's what the platform's for. It's when people want to go bigger, which is interesting. That's going to be a book I'll be releasing very soon. Go big, is because that's what the universe sends me. People, they want to go big. I'm like, okay, so I'll do that, and then that's part of their journey. And I think people just need someone to give them permission, because it's a solo job, because we're all entrepreneuring all behind our desks and our tables, and it's tough, and you need people to say you're ready. So that's what I do. And then people go, oh, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. Now let's get you there.
You're right. It is a solo job. And also, I think about permission, we always expect other people to give us permission, because that's how we are growing up, that you also have to ask for something. But when you are on that solo journey, I think you got to give yourself permission, like you say so much. And I love how you help people do that, so that they can open the doors for themselves and stop limiting themselves, because nobody is coming to kind of give you, all right, go ahead.
Well, yeah, that even those of us like myself and yourself, we're pretty contained. We have what I call some self-esteem and business esteem. We make good decisions. We make ones that make us laugh later. You know, but even for us, isn't it nice when someone's like, I really appreciate your work. I think you're ready to go here. I think whether it's permission or confirmation depends on kind of where you're at, right? And so I think that it just feels good as well. We need it no matter how great we are in our craft, how established we are in our craft, how many awards that we have, right? It is always good to have that. You know, look, I sent a birthday card to one of our speakers this week. Okay. I got this text back, which was like, oh my gosh, it made my day. Like, it was amazing. And it was perfect. And I was like, I'm so glad it made you feel good. She goes, you have no idea. And that is the thirst of the solopreneur. Because we just don't by nature get it, because we all feel like we all have it, but not true.
Yes, thank you. For someone listening who feels stuck, invisible, or unsure they still have something meaningful to offer, what would you want them to know about what's still possible for their life?
Well, you know, it's fun and interesting. I listen and read and study and do a lot around information and data and answer those kind of questions. I would say if someone is feeling unsure, here, I'm going to give you an example. So on the 5th of January, which I think was Monday, I had 2 sessions because we do global time zones. And it was a planning session for 2026. So we're going to get together and we're going to top perform our whole year. And we're going to strategize and we're going to do the deal. And I said, before you do anything, I want you to write on your paper 2025 accomplishments. Because a lot of people think that when they go to do something new, or they don't have anything else, or they forget what they've already done. And what you've already done is a lot more when you write it down on paper. I mean, write it down. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be big. You didn't have to climb the Himalayas, but are you healthy? Did you make impact? Like, who's in your life? All the things that we do that are really daily things that we do. Like, I send birthday cards to my friends. And even go back in the last couple of years. So it helps you recognize that you're stronger and more capable than you think, first of all. Second is, you woke up this morning, darling. You woke up. So if you woke up, that means you're not finished. That's it. You woke up. Right? Some people didn't wake up. Guess what? Their calling is complete. Yours isn't. So stop it. Get a piece of paper and pen and write out what it is that you want to do. Then go find the people that will help you support that emotionally, financially, information-wise. Like, you woke up, you brushed your teeth. I'm assuming you're going to have something to eat today. You're on the good side of the dirt. So get going. That's what I got to say.
I love that. And I think you're so right. We take so many things for granted, and sometimes we think it has to be grandiose or something out of this world, but it's the daily habits that get us the biggest change in our life. And I also have this habit kind of, I don't do it on the new year. I do it on my birthday. I write in the journal like a list of accomplishments for the last year, list of books I read, or like extraordinary things I've done, places I've traveled. I think it's a great kind of way to keep our own history for ourselves and remind ourselves how far we have come. Or you don't have to complete great things, but remembering what took place, because we often time remember the negative things and forget about amazing things. Amazing things we first take for granted and then we brush them off. And we're never satisfied with where we are. We always chasing something next. What's the next goal? All right, I did this. I wrote this book. Okay, what's next? We never.
Yeah, there's the time to celebrate, right? And I think that that's really common. You know, way back in the day, it was take time to smell the roses. I think there's always something about celebration. What does that mean? You know, what does that celebration mean? And it doesn't, again, like you said, have to be grandiose. It could be it could be, oh, here's one. Ooh, Go out for dinner and leave your phone at home. That sends your nervous system into a but literally go treat yourself to a couple of hours. Go to your favorite coffee shop and buy yourself something you don't normally buy. Like, it doesn't have to be big, but it has to be celebratory. Do something that your mind stops you. I love flowers. Okay. So I love flowers. And one of my goals is to have as many fresh flowers in my house daily. Okay. So sometimes I walk by the flower shop, which happens to be up the street, just to, thank you, universe, for ticking me off more. And I'll walk by it, and sometimes I'll go, nah. And I go, oh, that's when you need to. Or I always say this, or sometimes when people are struggling financially or they don't know how they're going to do it, go buy the organic goat cheese for $10 instead of the cheese for $4. That $6 will kick off a feeling of celebration. Like, you deserve the extra $6. It doesn't have to be that you've bought a ticket to Greece, which I'm not adverse to. Greece is on my bucket list, by the way. But it's go do something that you would not normally do. That's all. That's celebration.
Thank you. I love that. Was there any book that you read that kind of impacted your life that you would want more people to know about or read?
Yeah, there was a book that changed my life. And it's called Living in the Light by Shakti Gaiwan. And I think I was in my late teens. And I didn't really understand myself, because I've always had, people call me a professional hippie. Like, I've had a mind that has constantly been creative, and clearly, and here we are. And I didn't understand the drive at the time. Like, I had this drive. I think I had a really strong feminine side, but I also had this masculine side. And when I read that book, it was the first book I ever read that talked about feminine and masculine energy. So you got to imagine, if I was in my teens, that wasn't yesterday. My daughter's 30, So I read it, and it felt like water. It felt like I was drinking water. It felt like, oh my gosh, someone was answering something. So for me, that was a pivotal book because it explained who I was on the inside. And then there was a book that I found before anyone ever told me to read it, before it became a big do. I read Think and Go Rich by Napoleon Hill about 10 times just on my own. And then I created a book club with my friends, and we went through those chapters. And so I read that book until I felt I didn't need to read it anymore. And who knows, maybe while I'm talking about it today, I need to read it again. And I've probably passed it on as I do most of my things. But that was a really, really, really powerful book from an entrepreneurial standpoint. And a book, again, I think the things that give me the inspiration is when I find myself. So there was a book that Gloria Steinem wrote called Life on the Road, because I spent a lot of my life, one of my businesses required me to be on the road a lot, and how she, just the stories of how she learned so much by talking to taxi drivers because she didn't drive, and things like that. And so same as the first time I put a Janis Joplin album like on a record player. So I'm a vinyl girl, and I went and snuck and got my mom's Janis Joplin album and played it. First time I put that on, it was an album called Pearl. I felt like I had met myself. I was like, oh my goodness. So I think those are the ones that I remember the most. I mean, I produce books, right? So I've been touched by many. I've had the gift of forwarding many books, which is just like incredible. So yeah, I'm a bit of a book person, but those were life-changing because they were self-reflecting and confirming. I think that's the case.
Love it. Beautiful. Thank you. What is your superpower if you had to pick one?
Wow. I think kindness. I think it's my superpower. Yeah, I think I'm just kind.
That's a great quality.
I know it sounds, 7 companies, Success Magazine, I own a women's channel, but I think that's my superpower is I have I'm just kind. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
Wow. Well, first of all, this is super fun. I get interviewed quite a bit, and this is super fun. It's been really impromptu, and it feels like a conversation, and I appreciate that. Is there anything that I want to share? I mean, I think that the whole messaging around my life has been about doubling down on what's really important to you. I am very much like when I say feminine and masculine. And for me, I have embraced both, and I don't think there's anything wrong with both. So, there's philosophy around flow, and I believe in flow, and I believe in spirit, and I believe in intuition, and I believe in creativity. But I also believe in when you say yes, fully committing. Like if there's anything people would say about me, they'd say she loves music, probably first of all, but I'm really all in. Like I'm all in. Now, sometimes I've been loyal to a fault and I've got my butt kicked on that. But I would say that you need to go all in. Like if you're not going all in for you, then find someone to go all in for. For me, it's been me and my kids, right? When I look at the list that I write, I'm a top performance strategic planner. I mean, I build business plans and strategy plans with the power of this intuitive creative force. So it's very much so when I do that with someone, we don't make unrealistic plans that people can't ever obtain, but we don't drop down either. It is a stretch to your own significance. So my significance happens to be shown on the outside because of how I've chosen the work that I do. But, I had a private health studio where I worked on 30,000 clients on the inside of a beautiful room where we did powerful treatments and magic and Ayurveda and all of that. And the magic happened within the confine of a room. So whether your magic's happening there or I'm in media and it's happening out in the world, it doesn't matter. What are you doing? And are you all in on that? And it doesn't mean you only have to do one thing. For those of you that are an entrepreneur, I have more than one company. I have more than one division. Now my son has a company. So I'm not saying do one thing. I don't believe in that. If you are a creative and you have some multiple things, but know when you're there, love the one you're with. So I'm here with you right now. Like that's what I'm doing. I'm here with you. And then when my next meeting, I'll be there, right? So it might be for my son's business, but love the one you're with. It's okay to do more than one thing, but go all in and double down. And entrepreneurship is not meant to be a walk in the forest. It's going to be hard sometimes. You're going to do 18-hour days. I have not met anyone who is successful as an entrepreneur. I mean, taking care of their own, right? That has not been tired, upset, cried, going for like it's the stretch, right? So by nature, if you're looking to carve path, make change, and carve path could be you. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. Ooh, that was interesting. And still is interesting. I don't even tell them anymore, right? It's like, oh yeah. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh yeah. Media. They're like, you have a TV channel. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. What are you doing? Because I just know, right? Like I just know. So that's a long version of what I would say, but go all in, double down, right? Go all in, double down, and plan and execute for your success. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think going all in is so important because we're always somewhere else and we are not present, and we can miss so much when we are not present. So going all in is so important.
Yeah.
It's been such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your journey, and your incredible life in this short episode. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, you too. Look at that. We just got so much out, and I'm looking forward to having you share your words of wisdom with our community as well, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
If this conversation resonated with you, take a moment to honor that, because reclaiming your life doesn't start with doing more. It starts with giving yourself permission to see how far you've come. If you found value here, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might need this reminder today. And before you move on, pause, breathe, and celebrate yourself for showing up. I'll see you in the next episode.